He points at Mar and asks, "Would you consider leaving that creature here?" "Never." You refuse. Think about it. You grab the headman by his lapels, hands trembling in fury. Let's do this. Pummel the headman curled up on the ground. The headman groans in pain. But you hug Mar tightly. Mar looks at you with his round. You meet eyes with the rest of your party and reach a tacit agreement. Together, you all stand and leave. The old man's, but Mar, the keener of you two, is quick. With a crash, from the headman's hand falls a small blade. It clatters to the ground, covered in blood. You take the injury. Despite the shallow wound, I heard that as he reaches Mar's bedside, "This is what you call it extract." He explains that it is a Lappy's eyes widen in realization. He then puts the what you call it extract into a bottle and hands it to you. He tells you to give the extract to the famous nutrition. Realizing that you are at fault for this, you don't hesitate. But this is strange. The extract comes from a monster, so it should have no effect on one, Lappy remarks with a curious tilt of his head. "I thought a beast of that size would eat us out of house and home," she remarks, no doubt talking about Mar. The man looks sad, saying he cannot believe no one realized he was eating children. A bizarre rock appeared. It seems primed to explode. The bizarre rock transformed into an aqua rock. The only way out of this fight is through it. Nice work. And fight. Fortune favors the... Nice work. You were surprised to find a merchant selling goods in a place. You decide to take a look. You're in luck. I have some rare items for sale, she remarks, lining up some goods before you. She begins closing her shop, saying she needs to stock up on wares again. It seems you won't be able to do any more shopping here. Look, you two, it's the sea, Ridis exclaims, frolicking in glee. You, on the other hand, trudge along as far as you can, feeling something at your feet. You glance down. It appears you've stepped on a monster's cape, making it very upset. It attacks you in fury. I was lucky. You hear a roar in the distance. Rumor in the village has it that it might be the dragon. The man says the fishing industry is usually thriving in their seaside town. He mentions that even the fishing harbor to the northwest has been suffering from poor hauls of late. The sign on the door, you open the door without knocking, as a muscular man emerges from the back. You politely ask if he is the nutritionist. Indeed, I am the nutritionist. He says he has been studying dietetics here for many years. You hand Oreo the extract and explain that your comrade. He stares at the extract for a long time, and then opens the bottle and laps at the liquid inside. "That's poison," Melanie shouts in alarm. The man insists that he'll be fine with his expertise of nutrition, and insists that knowledge is power, as if that will help somehow. Regardless, it seems he managed to grasp the composition of the poison with that lick, and starts concocting a nutritional supplement to counter it. However, he says he needs a spry fish, which has been difficult to catch lately. He needs a special fish to make the necessary supplement. When he explains that you can catch one in the surrounding sea, Riddis confidently interjects. She shows you a page from her ancient tome, which explains the ecology of the fish in detail. "That book comes in handy from time to time," Melanie remarks, and Oreo gasps as if remembering something. He says that his son went out fishing and, with a bit of luck, may have already caught a spry fish. It sounds like his son is fishing on the wharf. You decide to go find him. You see a young man with his line in the water and call out to him. He turns around and flexes, shouting out suddenly, "Power is power." You stare, enchanted by his bulging musculature. There is no doubt in your mind that this is Oreo's son. He asks if you have business with him. Though you are pretty sure of the answer. "That I am." You introduce yourself. His eyes begin to sparkle the moment you utter the word hero, and he more or less grasping the situation, he regrets to inform you that he has not caught any spry fish yet. He says that a monster has settled near. You know Oreo needs a spry fish to make that supplement. Hearing the despair in your voice, he tells you that there is a harbor near town where perhaps you can find the fish you seek there. You thank him for the information, then head to the harbor with your... Just as you are about to leave, "Is it a reward you're after?" you are about to ask, but Melanie smacks you on the head before you can voice it and allows him to come along. I can feel the dragon's presence. I must inform you. Feel impatient, determined not to let the order beat you to it. She narrows her... Your ears perk up at the word reward, and you immediately agree to help expose the dirty thief. Bruno looks ecstatic when you ask him why, he tells you that his dream is to be an adventurer, but his father, famed in the world of nutrition, forced him into following in his footsteps. What will you ask Bruno? You ask Bruno about his sword. Bruno replies that he specializes in hand-to-hand combat, then flexes his pull. Apparently, he only carries around a sword to look like an adventurer. Curious about his attire, you ask why he does not wear armor. He confessed that he once wished for armor, but deemed it unnecessary after gaining so much muscle. In that moment, you realize the words "birds of a feather flock together" run through your mind, but you quickly chase them away, afraid of what that means for you. Set foot inside the inn, it would appear you and your companions are this inn's 10,000th customers. That means you've won the lifetime of free stays pass. Watch out, your friends cry, as something comes hurtling straight at you. You keep your cool. Your friends gasp as you catch whatever it is before it clobbers you. pick up a scrap of paper. Clearly, whoever dropped this, you stash the scrap of paper in your pack and resolve to keep an eye out for the treasure on your travels. It appears this sturdy door has a magic seal on it. Unfortunately, it is out of her realm of expertise. Don't hold back. You won't catch a spry fish. Did thou find the antidote? Lappy asks Mar in a worried whisper. You may be able to aid it by administering some curative. You take pity on the creature, able to move once more. It makes a clumsy attempt at a bow, and then it is gone. Lying in the dirt, you find an old telescope. Pick it up and angle it toward the coastline. Peering through the lens, all you know is there's something up ahead. You should be able to toss the janky telescope aside and creep forward as silently as you can. Looks like you've spied a fish. With one final great effort, it heaves itself back into the safety of the sea. He hopes his wife and child back in Shoreland are well. A rough-tempered piscator stands there, having Mar's fate rests upon this man's haul. Terrible, he says, showing you the few fish he's caught. Inside you see a spry fish, Bruno shouts. You ask him if you can have the spry fish, but he says he won't give it up for free. When you ask how much it will cost, he gives the absurd price of 1,000,000 gold pieces. You're heartless, Ridis pouts. The man is enraged by the rude response. Just then, Bruno prances forth and shouts, "Stop right there! Your fisherman muscles are simply sublime," he challenges the man to a competition of muscles with the spry fish as the prize. The piscator seems interested and agrees on one condition. "If you lose, this one's all yours," Melanie says, patting you on the shoulder. "Then let the carnival of might and muscles begin," Bruno roars. "Your puny body is no match for mine," the piscator shouts back, throwing a punch. You're doing great. Looking ripped. A battle of His victory sealed, Bruno strikes a glorious pose and shouts out, "Witness the power of power." Defeated, the Piscator hands over the spry fish to Bruno. Bruno extends a hand to the Piscator, who has fallen to his knees. With a serene smile, he takes the offered hand. An unspoken friendship begins to form between the two. Or at least, you hope that's what the prolonged silence between them means. With the spry fish in hand, you head back towards Oreo's clinic. Bruno looks at your group sadly, reluctant for this little adventure to end. You hand the fish to Oreo. "Give me a moment," he says, then takes the fish and heads into the back. "It's ready," he says, emerging from his room and handing you a bottle. You hope this will get Mar back on his feet. You need to get back to Unionville on the double. But before that... You face Bruno and say, "Take care," then run. But Bruno stops you and says he wants to... But Oreo is quick. "Then you leave me no choice." Bruno's expression reads, "Squats at hyper speed. I want to show this power to the world." "You have much to learn, my son," Oreo retorts as he starts sidestepping. Only the sound of their labored breathing and bodies moving resonates through the otherwise silent room. You can only look on in stunned silence at the enigmatic display. Bruno falls to his knees, panting. "This is my You have grown, my son," Oreo says, looking no... "So are you coming with us or not?" Melanie interjects. "Only our muscles know the answer," comes Bruno's "I don't get it," Ridis remarks frankly. On the condition that he study nutrition upon his return, Bruno is allowed to go with you for just a little. You realize that these two have a very special way of talking that no one else can understand. Hearing yet another roar in the distance, you realize you need to get the supplement to Mar so you can investigate the sound together. It points to you and then goes stiff. It hands you a bottle of medicine, takes a sweeping, graceful bow to show you how far it's come, and takes its leave. Mar lies listlessly upon the bed, looking somewhat haggard. You help Mar sit up. Drink this, Mar. He weakly opens his mouth, and you slowly pour the energy concentrate inside. Mar abruptly bolts up and turns his head toward you with a puzzled look. It looks like Mar is all better now. You give Mar a tight hug. Mar mews softly in discomfort. Overcome with joy, you sob and stroke Mar's head. Melanie and Ridis watch you too with a smile. Bruno is deeply moved to see nutrition bringing a smile to others. With this, you can finally put the happenings of that strange village behind you. You decide to take Bruno back to Shoreland, then continue your search for the dragon. A monster appears. You may be able to aid it by administering some defroster. You would help it if you could, but you have no defroster on hand. Unable to do anything more, you keep walking. You arrive at Bruno's house. Though he seems to want to adventure a little more, He reluctantly enters his. He says that the creature nests atop it. With that, your next destination is decided. Here, you will part ways with these two. Bruno looks at you, his eyes begging you to let him come along. What will you say? Let us defeat the dragon together, you say to him. You are sure his power and knowledge, and you realize with a grin he will be so happy just to come along that he will. Bruno is happy he can continue the journey, but Oreo stops him before. You must stay here and study. Bruno explains that the journey thus far has taught him the splendor of nutrition, and he now, after hearing his son out, Oreo suddenly removes his glass, and in the blink of an eye, the flesh of Bruno, and Bruno is. Your eyes go. Knowledge of Wow, knowledge. You tremble. Though Oreo still deems his son's knowledge in. Thank you, Father, Bruno says from the ground. So it comes to pass that you journey to the tower with Bruno to find the roaring beast. Yet another.
With his 3D heaven, det är oss väldigt sevidi och quenchade war inus to harimoen dissonien 3D is over listen on yeri von benius io quentalio dio ventonies listen on yeri coelius as the two queliudi and toy Tony is dear Philovie.